up the Xin Zhao first. We called it when we came into it. LeBlanc wasn't a factor. Like, the fact you'd banned away Diana and Viego already set yourself down onto the back foot, and Xiaopeng, yes, brought out the Rek'Sai, it's a pocket pick for him, but it did not look good. And even when you look at, like, the 2v2 in the mid lane, it wasn't exactly like you had this crazy strong mid-jungle 2v2 that you could look to pair it through. And it's not exactly the TT way to try and play through that. So, as we get into this, I think TT, if you don't ban the Xin Zhao here, it will be first pick for BLG, and they'll be delighted that Weiwei's got control of the jungle matchup.
Wait to see what way they want to go for a BLG now, recognizing the power of that Kalista pick, now opt in to ban it themselves. Viego's still available, as TT have yet to ban it. They were the ones to ban it both games 1 and 2. They're actually going to ban the Lee Sin, so Xin Zhao, Viego both available, but Viego is the #1 pick for BLG.
Yeah, I think you end up going back towards the Xin Zhao here. Maybe even opt in towards something like the Lulu mid here for but they are going to go back towards this LeBlanc. I really hope we don't get to see that Ignite. I hate when LeBlanc players take Ignite. I don't think it has enough impact in the lane, and just not being able to get the reset timing that you want and find roams is more impactful than actually being able to deal a little bit of extra damage to the mid lane.
Yeah, it feels like the Ignite is more of a defensive summoner in that regard. Is the Thresh going to be locked in here? So that opens up potentially the Xin Zhao to go over to the side of BLG to get the 2 priority picks, and that feels like a weird trade-off here for the side of TT. It doesn't feel like that's the 100% correct decision.
Yeah, I'd actually take away the Xin Zhao here, and then just enable, there you go, just stick this as a solo lane Viego. You get guaranteed jungle matchup, you get a great matchup topside, I imagine, for Biu if he wants to take the Viego. Like, it means that, like, for TT, Longxing, who we haven't actually seen play a hell of a lot of the Gwen, I think he's only played it once, so you kind of deny that matchup anyway. And now you've got a crazy strong skirmishing on your top side, and you add Leona in. This is just a really good team fight team.
Yeah, for TT, you feel like they have to pick up their AD carry here, either the Aphelios or the Jinx, to really utilize that Thresh pickup. But no, they are going to lean back in towards the Trundle to try and mitigate some of these beefy boys in the front line.
Yeah, we've seen this kind of come out as a counter to the Xin Zhao to a lot of it. When Xin Zhao goes in with E, you're able to disrupt his escape and his movement with the pillar. You're able to also obviously steal away a lot of those stats, which makes it easier to burst him down. Just kind of makes things a hell of a lot more difficult for the Xin Zhao. Now, we'll have to see if we get that coming into this game, but it does mean for your Ezreal, or for your Thresh, you're not going to have access to a lot of these. Oh, well, never mind. I was going to say a lot of these AD carries like Jinx, Aphelios, as I assume that BLG would ban away things like the Aphelios, but right now, it looks like they're actually just happy to get better top lane matchups again for Biu, who I imagine is taking this Viego.
See what way they want to work for it. Now the bans coming in for TT, taking away the Ezreal. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe the Varus banned away here, just knowing that they have to try and get away some of these very, very good early game and poke champions, I feel, that can really put a dent in a lot of what they're doing. Still waiting for that last ban to come in. The timer has hit 0 for a few.
We've definitely seen a drop in Varus priority. Like, although he used to be like 100% presence, he's still hovering 78%. It's still pretty high, but certainly a lot less attention. I think it's because we've seen things like the Kalista coming in that can do well against them. And we've even seen people like Kramer and some other picks coming up who are able to get the Ziggs. So I think definitely seen a fall off in priority for Varus. And I don't know if we'll end up seeing it here for BLG, but that's the Aphelios locked in anyway, and you're going to be pretty happy with that as TT.
Sadly for TT, a missed ban does mean they have not fully utilized the opportunity to pinch that AD carry pool. The Volibear and Mundo have been banned away by BLG, so they are still waiting to see what that top lane matchup will be. And I actually would not mind to see the Ziggs at all here. Worked very, very well into the composition, adding a nice level of AP damage to those AD skirmishers.
And even opens up AD mid laner here for Zeke as well, if you really want to go for it. Now, it does make things a little bit easier for the likes of, say, the Trundle, who can itemize or can take those armor runes. And looks like, they're just going to take the AD top to put this Viego mid lane. So, again, great draft coming through here from BLG. And it's going to make things incredibly difficult for Sam D in these fights. If you get locked up at all by a Solar Flare, Ziggs bomb over the top, and that's a dead Aphelios.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do at that point, and we're going to see the Jax, the slight counter here for Longxing going into Biu. Jax notoriously good at just mitigating a lot of that passive damage you get with the, the Q damage you get with the Camille setup, and really interesting to see him going for it specifically into the Viego and the Xin Zhao as well.
Yeah, it's very much a kind of like hit and run style matchup for the Jax in the top lane, where you're looking to trade very, very briefly and then get away from the Camille before she's actually able to have that big of an impact into, or to trade a lot of that damage back. As you said, like utilizing the helicopter, the counter-strike to make sure that you can't trade back as effectively, but making sure you get out of that hook shot range as soon as you get these good trades. So definitely a good matchup for Longxing. Surprised to see the Jax coming out. Like, he's only played it 9 times over his career, but he's actually sitting at an early, an 89% win rate. So only a single loss in this champion. So I'm excited to see what he can do now when he brings it up against the Camille.
Curious to see how they're able to utilize this pick, and for BLG, they got a lot of OPs. I'm going to be very honest and frank here and say they got a lot of very powerful skirmishing power in that top side of the jungle. The Xin Zhao, the Viego, and of course the Camille as well. You're able to catch anyone out in these early stages that you just have no way of defending yourself. And honestly, I would love to see this Leona roam around the map a lot as well. The Ziggs can, at level 4 or 5, even getting up a lost chapter at the early stages, can just fend for themselves. Is very, very safe at throwing out those bouncing bombs, and of course the minefield to clear the waves. Shouldn't really be any pressure against a Thresh Aphelios.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's hopefully what we're going to see a little bit of coming through here for BLG. And I think if you're looking towards that mid lane matchup as well, if you can try and lock down this LeBlanc, you can do a lot. Now, it is incredibly difficult to do so, especially when you're Leona. Like, you got to walk into the lane with the Zenith blade. LeBlanc still just hops out with the distortion. So it can be a little bit tough, but I certainly think for PP God, pairing up with Weiwei here, starting to even play through that top side of the map, could work out incredibly well. But from TT's side of things, like, if you're able to get Xiaopeng, who's able to set up Longxing, that gives you so much pressure on this top side. And a Jax that's fed can take over games, especially against this kind of short range, bruiser, skirmish oriented top side of the map that BLG have.
TT deliberating whether to give the golden experience to Ye or to Longxing, and opting going over to Longxing as he's on the Jax. Would have a little bit of an easier time getting to level 2, might be able to all in knowing that they have taken the tactical sweep for Camille.
If you take in a solo lane, if you manage to get the ward kill, it means that you will hit level 2 1 creep earlier, which means that you actually hit it off of the first wave here for Biu. So I think that's going to be pretty big here. Or sorry, for Longxing, if Longxing is able to punish that here against Biu.
See how this lane ends up going. It's difficult for Longxing to really do much into the Camille at level 1. Has, of course, got the tactical sweep, but of course the passive as well with that AD shielding. So not a lot of opportunities to take in this particular matchup, especially early on, but we'll wait and see exactly how it all goes later on. When you hit level 4 or 5, that's when it starts to get a little bit more interesting for the
look
Jax.
at that already. Look at the top lane health bars. I know we're not looking at it, but we saw the level 2 get hit by Longxing. Instantly gets a chunk of damage down onto Biu. So playing around that level 2 spike really well. And this is what we were talking about we wanted to see, right? Actually taking advantage of this, but more action is going to be put down towards this bottom side now. Both junglers pathing down here. Oh, sorry, actually, I take that back. It's Xiaopeng whose path down here has gone from red Raptors straight into his 2 solo camps on the bot side. Whereas when you look at Weiwei, he's actually looking to try and get up towards this top half of the map.
It's just tit for tatting right now as Biu actually finds a little bit more of a better trade. Has got himself the Dorn's Blade versus just the Corrupting Potion for Longxing, and Wave's in a little bit of a difficult position now for the TT top laner. Needs to be very, very careful of how he takes this next few fights, as he's taking a lot of damage. A hook shot, not going to be committed to, but as we said, it's very volatile top side. The Jack's going to be a little bit struggling for answers, especially as the Camille picks up some more speed.
Longxing has definitely misplayed this matchup. Like the level 1 trading where he used the counter-strike, not able to get the stun, even ends up just using an auto onto the bone plating, opened up Biu to take the super aggressive early trade. And although Longxing got some good trading back off that level 2 spike, the fact he's not playing to... Ooh, hang on, Amy.
Oh, we are going to see the flash from aiming. He's not quite out of it just yet. First blood going over to Sam D. Finally gets himself a kill on the 80 carry after a very, very long game too. And that's just a great opportunistic moment there for the side of TT. They forced the flash, they forced him to teleport as well. And now we'll see what Weiwei can do on the other side.
I mean, he'll be able to steal away the Krugs, but the Krugs still level 1 here for Xiaopeng. It's not going to be the end of the world that Xiaopeng loses them. Honestly, it's more so just going to be resetting that camp for Xiaopeng, which the Trundle will be pretty happy about. This is a major win for TT, at least for Aiming, able to get back off the teleport. Oh, hang on. No, he's okay. Able to get back off the teleport to collect that wave, make sure he's not falling behind in CS, and get some pressure on this bottom side. But still, you get the kill and a lot of gold towards Sam D.
It also delays the first half item you get with the Ziggs. We talked about the Lost Chapter, just something that does so much work at keeping you safe in this lane, knowing you can just throw out bombs, knowing that you're not going to be running out of mana anytime soon. It really does hurt you not having that particular item as quickly as you would like. And now we'll see what TT are able to do with this slight advantage they found themselves. It was the Aphelios, of course, that picked up that kill, so able to get himself the Berserker Greaves straight away. And I actually love this little adaptation here from Yev as we look at the items. He's actually picked up the Oblivion Orb very, very early on. I really like this because one of the big things you'll notice in the top side of the map specifically with the Xin Zhao and the Viego, there's a lot of self-healing there. And with a double Doran's Blade as well for Biubiu, he's going to have a lot of healing cut available to him should he find himself in those early skirmishes.
Yeah, Along Xing, again, has struggling in this matchup. Like, he's trying to go in for these aggressive trades, but every time it's when Biubiu's close to a wall, he's getting the hook shot to stun and walk out from Longxing. You want to try and predict it as Longxing so you can at least get that trade back, or kind of leap in and then get that quick Q auto attack reset with the W and walk out while having that counter strike. Because what ends up happening then is that if Biubiu tries to commit with his own hook shot, you bring up the counter strike. Biubiu can't trade back effectively, and it's about trying to manage that counter strike effectively against the hook shot of Biubiu.
Zika just chucking out the Scryer's Bloom, just making sure that they have full vision of any idea where Xiaopeng might be. They know he's not on the top side, so he's almost certainly on the bot. And that's where TT could look to maybe stack some dragons, get that early pressure. Very difficult for a Ziggs Leona to really defend against the push that, you know, in any meaningful way. They'll be able to pick up the minions, but they won't be able to create any kind of big pressure in this bot side. And it should mean that Xiaopeng is able to take down this dragon alongside his teammates and get that dragon stacking early.
Yeah, which is going to be really nice for them now. Again, aiming obviously very late game scaling here, just as much as Sam D, but you definitely need those two items before you're massively relevant as aiming. So if TT can actually look for these fights before aiming's really online, it could help them out. But you still, with the Aphelios, with this Jax, it's not exactly like you're under pressure to start these fights. And this is, I feel, going to be a much slower paced game, unless BLG try to play through this heavy 3-man skirmish they have on top side, because right now, you've so much scaling on both these squads that you're just going to wait until you get to that point and see if you're okay.
We've got some time. Don't think, as you said, there's going to be much happening over the next few minutes as the dragon was taken. Rift Herald will spawn in a minute or 15 seconds or so. Actually, 45 seconds, excuse me. And that might be a point of contention for either of these sides, as they both love to try and, specifically TT, throw it all away at this particular buff. But wait to see where they want to go, what they want to do. It is the first reset coming in for BLG, so they will have PP God out on the map a little bit quicker. Does he look to try and maybe just take this one down? Hextech Ultimatum is available here for the Camille, so Longxing will be in a lot of hurt if he gets caught out by this combination of the CC.
Yeah, they've no jungler up the top side though for BLG, so it is just PP God. And you can see Pudding trying to match this. It's 8 minutes into the game, so Rift Herald is on the cards, which is why we're seeing all this aggression top side.
Oh, we're seeing it now coming in. We are not going to get the stun down, but the Hextech Ultimatum is enough to put down the Ignite as well. We're going to be able to get an easy kill for Biubiu in that top lane. Zika had roamed all the way from mid to that top lane as well, and we can see the flash away from the Zenith Blade here for TT as they try and just keep this one alive, but 2 kills for the Camille, and now we're starting to see the resets come in here for Zika. The rest of TT back away, but I feel like you don't need to trade that. You have the Aphelios pushing. You can just make the cross map.
Yeah, you don't need to commit everything to the play. And this is why, again, like bringing it back up although TT have a pretty high Rift Tower control, I think they're 6th in the league right now, if I have that correct. Sorry, they're actually 3rd in the league when it comes towards first Rift Tower control. Like, they get that a lot, but they're almost 1,500 gold behind on average at the 15-minute mark. And the reason is because they end up going for these double sorts of plays where, yes, they commit towards the Rift Tower and they get it, but they end up losing out in the ensuing fight because they haven't rotated Sam D in time. Ye is in a bad position. Like, it's not cohesive as TT, and you're going to see it here, right? Longxing is up on this top side. He's way overextended, and they know PP God's been missing for a long portion of time, but Pudding and Xiaopeng aren't able to get up here in time, and because they're now committing to try and help the top play, they're caught out as well, and then they even get the full commit after as well towards this fight, despite the fact that you end up with BLG here. So it's messy all across the board from TT, and they're rightfully punished.
Again, it's just moments like that where I'm like, yes, you can posture around the Rift Tiles. You can look to say, look, you don't get this 100% for free, but you don't have to commit to it. You can just take the fight wherever wherever it's strongest for you later on in the game. Get those plates that will pretty much equal out what you just gave up to the other side, given to your AD carry. And now we'll see what they're able to do with it. But I don't know why Xiaopeng is here. You needed to be here last game, buddy, because it is so difficult for you to try and deal with the Ziggs. He's got so much wave clear.
Yeah, and again, I think on Weiwei's perspective, he just has to sit bot like he did last game here. And you can already see he's here, but you already have 2 kills on Camille. Top lane matchup is in Camille's hands. Now just make sure that Aiming doesn't fall behind, and you're good to go here as BLG as you start to go in towards this 2 to 3 item spike.
Although Xiaopeng wastes so much time down this bot side as well. It's only a minute and a half until the next dragon, so can't even rotate up to take that one. And this is exactly what we said would happen when you pick the Ziggs, why it's so good into a scaling matchup like an Aphelios Thresh, because there's just so little kill threat onto you. There's so little reason for you to walk up and be in a position to get caught that it does mean you can be left on your own to just soak up the waves, soak up the farm. And while that was all happening on bot side, we see there Weiwei using it as an opportunity to drop Rift in mid, get some more gold into his and Viego's back pockets. This is kind of snowballing a little bit out of control. It's coming up to a 2,000 gold lead for BLG, and they're just continuing to put down the pressure.
Yeah, and again, like Bubu, 2 plates on top, 320 gold now in his. Might actually get a 3rd one, not quite able to, but this is now where you're going, okay, turret plates mid, Zika, Bubu's got his. And if you're already taking down 2 towers, well, Longstroll Ziggs, when he's able to use a satchel charge at any point in time to take this bot turret, or hell, even start to put pressure towards this mid tier 2. So you end up in a spot here as TT where you have to make plays to salvage this, and it's not working out.
They are looking to try and make the play right now. They land the Aphelios, try and flash forward, landing the death sentence down. There's the Mega Inferno Bomb to try and just dissuade anybody else. But a nice little move there from TT, recognizing, like you said, they needed to make a move, and they did.
And as you can see, I mean, no damage on that Mega Inferno Bomb right now. It's going to be a long L time before that actually is relevant, but definitely I like that TT now starting to get active, starting to make these plays. And I mean, Xiaopeng is trying, but he is a Trundle, so definitely needs Pudding to try and help out in that. But as we said, Ziggs walks mid, he presses W, the tower falls.
Yep, 20% execute damage on that tower as we see Longxing going toe-to-toe with Bubu in top side. Just showing him his staff and saying, hey, I'm getting there. Don't you worry, I'll be there very shortly, my friend, and I'll be able to go 1v1 with you, no problem whatsoever. The dragon is being started by BLG, so despite the pick in the mid lane, despite the good reaction, you could say, to TT to be proactive, they end up coming out on the back end of that with literally very little in terms of global objectives. That being said, they're going to try and commit onto the Hextech ultimatum of this Bubu, but in a 1v3 comes out with a 1-for-1. That is not worth TT.
Now, I'm surprised he even managed to. Xiaopeng didn't have the Subjugate available, so not able to get rid of the resistances. Divine Thunder just being completed by Bubu, whereas Longxing hadn't reset. He was sitting on a phage, was below half HP, so Bubu, with the big spike coming through off that Divine Thunder, was able to finish off Longxing. And now, yes, turret plate's going to TT, but bot lane turret just went to Aiming, and they're getting way more of these turret plates. It's only the 3 that are left on top side that BLG haven't managed to pick up yet.
And it looks like they're going to try and send Ziggs that way. You can see him pathing up a little bit towards that top side. Zika going to leave the Trundle to head back on his merry way, as this tower will not fall. But this is just unfortunate trading for TT, and this is why we always look at, when we look at trades of kills, we look at where you're finding your opportunities and picks. The better teams or the great teams in the LPL will always get a pick or a kill into an objective. It will always lead into something bigger than what was just that play. And for TT, sadly, they get 2 kills, they lose 1 kill, and they lose 2 towers. It just really isn't worth it for them.
And now for BLG, you just look to play side lanes, right? Ziggs can wave clear all the live long day in mid, so get BLG off on the side, have Weiwei and PP God plays this death squad that just visits these lanes, and either Zika sets up for a stun, you got BLG who can set up with the Hextech ultimatum, and you just take over and continue to power through this 3-in-1 Camille. The fact that Zika has already got his Divine Sunder completed as well.
Have a look at the plates that went down. Of course, 7 for the side of TT. So definitely not a bad thing, but almost perfect for BLG. They got themselves 11 of those potential 15. So sitting on a 3,000 gold lead, feeling very, very happy about it. And Zika has a feeling, has an inkling that something is going on. He doesn't quite trust the fact that nobody's been up to this wave in a little bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's playing it right. You know that the Rift Herald is up and available. There's got to be TT trying to make some sort of play to answer back and try and get control of this objective, but plays it right. Zika now, full control, pushes in top, and now it's actually, who has to abandon this turret top side, because you know that BLG are in this area as they take the Rift Herald.
Well, Rift Herald gonna go down to BLG, like you said. And they're gonna be able to push in this top side as well. They don't even need the Rift Herald for that objective. They should be able to take it with the Satchel Charge. Pop goes the Weasel, and they get themselves a nice, another little kill. This rotation, this quick play, this decisiveness from BLG seems a million miles away from where they were in Game 1, and they are just continuing forward. They have the Rift Herald should they need it, but honestly, right now, I don't even think they do. The Ziggs just melts this tower, and another pop, another Weasel, and there's just nothing you can do if you're TT.
And it's not like they're even losing too much here as BLG. You had BU roam up towards mid to catch that wave. He's now moving back bot to catch the wave that Longxing has pushed in. So as TT, you're not actually finding the purchase in this game, and it is very quickly starting to run away. And even if we haven't had, any more than 6 kills, it's still a 4,000 gold lead for BLG thanks to those turret plates, thanks to the towers that they managed to pick up, and even the CS leads that we see coming in for the jungle and that top side of the map.
It's looking very, very positive for BLG, and this Ziggs pick, which has been slowly finding itself into the meta right now, great just stopgap to really deal with a lot of the issues you get when you build these AD solo laners. When you want the early pressure, you want the skirmishing power, you're able to get something like this. And I even love the fact that they give him the blue buff, because they know that the wave clear comes from the Ziggs. If he's just throwing bombs, he's not dying. And as I say that, Solo Player does get landed. Super Mega Inferno Bomb now does a little bit of damage, and that is putting on the floor in a puddle. Now we can see the rest of the fight really come in. Zika jumps in on the backside. Sam D needs to get himself out of dodge, but they will take down Weiwei. It's a 1-for-1 trade. The Moonlight Vigil is a lot of damage, but not enough to take down the rest of these health bars. And now TT, they may look to try and capitalize on this moment and get some control around this Dragon Pit.
Yeah, you gotta back away here as BLG. You're incredibly low. Is hunting off the side. PP God is sticking around just in case they try to hard engage on towards BU. Now the resets come through for BLG, and they're going to be in a position to still fight for this dragon. A lot used by TT, but not a huge amount gained as a result.
Yeah, again, we talked about it. You're getting a kill, but you're not turning it into an objective. And with the TP here from aiming, puts himself back into the mid lane, full health, full mana, even has himself a Oblivion Orb to add in an extra bit of healing reduction. And we're going to go back towards the dragon.
They could actually just look to crack open mid turret if they want to. You got Ziggs, you got the Rift Herald. BU needs to be careful though. And TT, they're pushed out of river.
Yeah, pushed out a river. They need to be careful of these bouncing bombs. You can see with that blue buff, aiming's just not afraid to throw them out willy-nilly, making sure that they're just kept at arm's length. And TT didn't get the reset. TT weren't able to get back and spend some gold, reset those health and mana bars. That means TT lose out on the dragon, and BLG get themselves their second of the game.
Yeah, and look, as you said, the bouncing bomb's going to do a lot of work. Even the minefield going to do a hell of a lot of work in those jungle quarters as well. As okay, that's half of Pudding's health gone.
There's half of his health definitely gone, as we can see the minefield just used there a little bit. The distortion in there from Does he get caught off? He does. The Hexacle Domain follows him as well. And that's Ziggs picking up a kill. And with these chains, Sam D needs to use a Dark Passion to get himself out. But Xiaopeng being a little lazy and walks a little bit too close to the sun and gets himself burned. And now we're looking at inhibitors going down in favor of BLG. They won't want to take this, though. It's a little bit too early for that. You do not want to be giving them free gold and free XP with that pushing wave. So they let the Rift Herald die and they back themselves up.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, like for BLG, now they can go get side lanes in order. You've got a minute until Baron spawns. So just play through sides, let Ziggs take it when you crest the 20-minute mark, and that inhibitor then actually is worthwhile. You look at where TT stand, they're not really in a position to try and fight back. You see this long range poke too much. Yeah, the second time this series now he's gone for this LeBlanc pick, and he's been done dirty by BU on this Camille. Not able to get away, gets locked down. And then it's actually the Viego who's taken these chains and turned them against TT.
Cool to know that interaction. Should you get jumped on by Hexacle Tomatum, doesn't matter if you distort back to somewhere else, you are getting caught out with it. And BLG now firmly 6,000 gold ahead. They've got themselves 2 dragons. They're going to be able to push out these side waves, and you can't really take a big fight outside of your base knowing that your inhibitors are already cracked open here on the side of TT. You have to make sure that this Aphelios is on 2-3 items before you're really back into this game.
I don't even think it matters, because you just have so much range on BLG's side, right? Like, even if you try to go towards these fighters, Sam D, you always have to be under threat of a Solar Flare into that Mega Inferno bomb combo. And you can see Amy, he's built for this backline assassination. He hasn't gone towards the Seraph's Embrace, which is what we usually see. Instead, he's relying on that blue buff to keep him ticking along with mana. And he's gone for the Cosmic Drive. Extra damage against the CC target, but that's exactly what PP God provides. And you try to just one-shot Sam D in these fights.
Really good game so far from BLG. Definitely looking a little bit more convincing. Yes, Horizon Focus.
I always get those mixed up.
They are very similar in how they look on our screens. We work on 480p, of course. And but yeah, I think BLG looking a lot more convincing in game 1 or game 2 and 3 than they were in game 1. Feels like they're giving a little bit more respect to TT than they were in game 1, and definitely coming out dividends, giving them the right level of space, making sure they're not going into tight chokes where they could end up dying. As I say that, though, yeah, might be finding him in a tight choke where he could end up dying and he has to distort away. But now with the Baron spawned, this could be an objective here for the side of BLG if they really want to try and hard force a fight.
Again, though, Wei doing his job here. Facilitating that top lane split push from BB, we said this is exactly what we wanted to see, right? Have Wei play this facilitator for that side lane push. Make sure that you can't actually shut down BB. Now you've got full side lane control as BLG. I wouldn't be surprised to see BB off of reset. There he goes, moving back down towards the bottom side. You've Zeke, whose TP is going to be up shortly, moving top. And then you just look to push in, threaten inhibitor turrets, threaten an inhibitor in that mid lane. And you've always got the opportunity to bounce back and move over towards that Baron area as well.
All summoners available for pretty much everybody except for Bubu's Flash. He used it to catch out on the LeBlanc earlier in that play, but having a look now at all the different items, you can see 2 items for the Xin Zhao. Finally got that Sterak, so he's going to be very difficult to kill in these longer extended team fights. You've of course got to play the Ruin King now for the King himself. Now, as Zika does end up picking up that one. And on the other side, you're looking at double Divine Sunderer, which is good, but then it's kind of a load of half items until you hit Aphelios, who has got himself the Runan's Hurricane and the Immortal Shield Bow. Let's pause myself there for a second. The Ethereal Chain not going to land there, but if he can just hold out for 2,000 more gold, if he gets up to his Infinity Edge, that's where you feel confident for TT. That's where you know that this Aphelios can pop off, but it feels so far away when you're this far behind.
It feels like you need a mistake from BLG, though, where they over-regress with the 3-man unit on that top side of the map, and Sam D's able to pop off before Ameen's able to obliterate the team. Like, Ameen is incredibly strong right now, and yes, if they can catch Ameen, phenomenal. If Ye is able to do it, that could be the game changer, but again, it feels like you need mistakes from Ameen in positioning to make that happen.
Well, we'll see if any mistakes do end up happening. Midwave was pushed in by the side of BLG, so they'll have first move onto this bot side. Wei jumps back in onto the LeBlanc, but nothing really happens from there. Satchel Charge has been used. Solo Player does not land. Super Mega Inferno Bomb, though, does a hell of a lot of damage. Is actually zoning out Sam D. He's not in this fight, or excuse me, yeah, is not in this fight, as Sam D is just trying to kite this one back. He's so low. He's still trying to do it, but he's not quite able to. They're just too far behind. Yeah, does his very best, but he's just not got the damage to take anybody down. It was close until it wasn't. BLG will get themselves onto Soul Point. They'll also be able to pick up 4 kills, trade it for 1, and they may look to turn and burn for Baron.
Yeah, it looked close until that airstrike from Aiming just absolutely decimates everyone on TT. And it means that now BLG, to get the dragon, they turn towards the big purple worm. They take this so incredibly quickly, and it is very much this game out of control now for TT, and only a matter of time before BLG close it out.
8,000 gold going to be turning into about 8.5, 9 very shortly. We'll have a look at the replay of that fight once this goes down, but the Pong is almost there. Not quite in time, but did realize he had maybe a little bit of extra time, but a little bit dicey there for BLG, but nonetheless they do pick themselves up that Baron, and wait to see now what Longxin can do. He's got himself, he's still waiting to get his Blade of the Ruined King. He's so far behind this Camille, it just becomes very difficult. You can see now he's just trying to get something for his team, but oh dear, he's got a bit too far forward. Zika is here. This will be a 1v1, but it's a level difference in favor of BLG's mid laners. Longxin gets solar flared up, Zenith Blade, Super Mega Inferno Bomb comes crashing down, and there's just not really a lot that the top laner of TT can do about that.
No, there's absolutely nothing that he can do, and that's kind of been it for Longxin this game. Wasn't able to get that advantage in the early stages, and now he's punishing for it. We're getting a T-Tour's look at how this bomb went down after being able to destroy the backline, and you can see here Zika managing to zone off Yeah. So when Yeah eventually joins this fight, it's already too late. Like, he was trying to see if he could pick off Aiming, but because of the long range of that ultimate, Aiming's still relevant in this fight, whereas Yeah wasn't. And then the top half of the map is just too strong for BLG right now, as, hold on, there's the pick.
Yeah, they're going to go for on top of BU, and he is going to fall. And this is where it gets a little dicey, though. They are taking down another inhibitor turret. The inhibitor still stands, which means there isn't a constant push pressure here for the side of BLG. Now the push coming in from TT, they're saying, look, we know you're not going to try and go for the end just yet. We know you're going to try and reset, and they're going to try and pick up some little bit of gold. So still life into TT, still pushing to see if they can get that 3-item Aphelios and turn this game around.
I will say, it's like a little plaster over what has been a leg lost for BLG. It is the tiniest of help. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's not going to actually mean very much. You got 2 inhibitors down. We already said, hey, look, you can play off through sideline with BU if you want to, as, yeah, he's kind of done for.
Yeah, he will get out, though, as unless there is a flash. There is not for Zika, and he does end up falling away to safety of his inhibitor turrets, but yeah, it does feel a little bad. However, they are starting to get some big items for the side of TT. They have got the Rabadon's just finished up here for so he will blow up backlines if he's able to get down onto Aiming. You are waiting for that Infinity Edge here for Sam D. Once he's able to get that, they might be able to turn this one around. Having a traditional AD carry and be able to catch people like this is how you get back into the game. They're going to see the Zanyas go down. They're going to want to try and give this one over to Longxin, and they will be able to get that one down. And now we start to get a little scared.
Yeah, I mean, we said BLG's mistakes are the only thing that can get TT back into this game, and losing your jungler is gonna not be the best of plays here for BLG. Now, TT can push in mid, they can get control of their side lanes as well, which is gonna be crucial for this soul, mountain soul that's about to spawn in a minute 30. So, massive mistakes here from BLG and giving a little bit of respite here to TT. Now, I still think with the 3 items pretty much across the board we're seeing from BLG versus kind of the 2, maybe a 3rd item if you look towards Sam D on TT, it still should be BLG favored for this fight, but it does mean that the map is at least stable for TT if they try to go for a prolonged skirmish at this fight.
Well, they know this has got to be it in a minute's time. And she had the longsword picked up here by Sam D. He knows that he is the carry. He knows that he needs to be putting down the damage, and he knows he has a big old target on his back. Those 2 picks, like you said. Oh, ooh, okay. this is, again, aiming. If you can get on top of him, this LeBlanc will hurt. The 2.5 items, the specific one being the Rabadon's death cap, means you cannot play frivolously. You cannot play loose. You have to play rigidly and know exactly where they're coming from, or you will get taken out.
And that's why it's such a big factor that Weiwei got caught, because now with lanes in control, yeah, it doesn't have to be off split pushing. He can actually be here. They could get vision control back for themselves and open up this a little bit better. Now you can see aiming within the protective circle.
Do land a hook, but they're going to see now if they can jump straight in. It's actually going to be Longsheng trying to dissuade everybody. Yeah. Forced back as well. Dragon spawning in 5 seconds. These bouncing bombs and minefields are just exactly what they sound like. Bouncing bombs and minefields. And it's going to be BLG first on the Dragon. They're going to try and turn and burn this one as quick as they possibly can. PB gets jumped on. They have got enough kind of people to keep them away. And now the Dragon Soul goes in favor of BLG. Can you take this fight though? As TT lose themselves their support. There's the Moonlight Vigil to do one. But it's just not enough. It's not going to be able to get them out of this hole. As BLG get the Mountain Soul. They get the Ace. They get absolutely everything they could have wanted, and they're going to be able to end the game.
And that's going to be all she wrote. BLG, they play that slow. They keep aiming safe, and it means that with that Mountain Soul, they can close out this series.
It was shaky in game 1. Game 3, definitely looking a little bit better as BLG get themselves a long overdue win in this series, and they are going to send themselves to 6-4, a much better scoreline heading into the latter half of the season.
And kind of a much needed win there as well. As we said, the schedule ahead of these guys is not going to be easy, and when they're being put to their paces against a team like TT, Top Esports, JDG, Rare Atom, definitely seem like an uphill battle for them. It is a